actually probably won't even need this, but I'm tired. Hello. Who came in here thinking we're actually going to beat up ninjas? I'm sorry, this is not that battle. I have nothing against ninjas or ninja cosplayers. I've done both. I just prefer pirate cosplays. How many of you have actually done a specific pirate type costume before? What was it?
Pirate type.
You don't want to say? What about you? Does anybody want to share?
I was Jack Sparrow once.
There you go. That's awesome. What about you?
Specific pirate.
Unspecific, unspecified pirate? Okay. The reason I think there should be more pirate cosplayers is because there's a lot of historical elements to piracy. Ninjas, yes, there are some historical elements to them too, but it's not as broad. That and when you think pirates, you think many different colors, many different variations. You don't just think, now in current day, you don't think just pirates by sea. You think sky pirates, space pirates. There's even, there was a show about these people who were like in this underground world, and there basically were like and there was pirates there too. Air pirates, if you're a fan of Final Fantasy 12. Yeah, and it's just, when you think ninja, you're like, okay, ninjas, they're assassins. Not much you can go beyond that. And when you talk to other people, the first thing that comes to their mind is what, like a ninja mask and like covered in little nunchucks or whatever. I don't know. But that's what people, everyday people think that comes to mind. What I personally like the more historical costume when it comes to piracy, but truth be told, almost every pirate costume you see now has a different variation. Like, not even if Jack Sparrow cosplay, it's not 100% accurate. There's different, I can point out different things from different time periods in that outfit. But like, again, that's kind of, people kind of like do kind of like a fantastical turn on pirate costumes now, which is always fun to do, because then you can get away with saying like, no, this isn't based on any period, so people can't argue with you like, oh, that's not period specific. Like, well, it's not supposed to be. What, anybody in particular prefer one pirate over the other, like space pirate, sky pirate, or anything, so I can, or just regular pirate, so I can dwell into which one more for you?
Space pirates, that one.
Space pirates? Well, I do know, if you play stuff like Mass Effect and stuff like that, that's the first thing that comes to mind when you think space pirates. Or if you think Tenchi Muyo, there's Ryoko, who is a space pirate. That's varies more into the sci-fi genre. Now, if you want to find materials for that specific genre, that usually involves with a lot of armor, majority of the time. The materials you can kind of get away with because they are a bit more bright colored. They're not as like specific, like intricate little things. Like you can get away with that a bit more. You can just use plain solid colors and that would work. But I would use like twill material for stuff like that. For the armor, if you're gonna do armor for Space Pirate, you would go with more craft foam. Craft foam is really good for majority of armor. Another thing I like to do, I like to get this foam, like it's like an installation foam that you get at Home Depot, and you get it in like sheets, like about this thick. What you can do, you can stack the sheets on top of each other. I glue them all together, And then when I have one solid piece of like just all glued together, I would then shave it down into the shape you want. And then after that, you can put like a paste over it. There's like a mache kind of clay paste that they have that I like to use that you can get at Hobby Lobby for like $9. And you get a whole entire tub of it, and all you do is add water, and you can just shape around it and let it dry. And that's a really good way to do armor, or a simple, cheap way to do armor. If you don't have like the access to like certain craft foam or resin or anything like that. That one you can vary more on props on too, because well, it's guns primarily for space pirates, but when you think sci-fi space pirates, they have like stuff that can look like a bazooka to a laser gun to just about anything out there. Whereas normal pirates, you think, oh, just a simple blunderbuss and a sword, a swashbuckling sword, that's it. But I like that because you can get away with a lot more. Did you have any more questions about space pirates?
No, we good.
Okay. I'm actually going to delve back into normal pirates now. If you are looking for, let's start with referencing characters. Are you going to do a more historical-based costume? Are you going to do it actually based off like actual pirate history? You can say Blackbeard, or you can say by Morgan or Cortez, or Cortez isn't quite a pirate, but we'll say that he is right now. Are you going to do it from a certain period? Because there's been piracy since like 1500, 1600, 1700, even to like early 1800, there was some piracy. And if you are you going to incorporate just one specific period, or are you going to do all the periods? There's really, really good sites out there for referencing these periods. Like there's people who specifically study just pirates in general and their periods of dress. Believe it or not, I was actually looking on Wikipedia last night, and they had really good period piece looking outfits based just on pirates alone. So when I went to go reference some sites just to give to you all, there's like so many that I'm like, you guys can just Google it and you can get it. But they're all really good. Like I said, period piece is people get more judgmental on, because if you happen to get something that's like 50 years off from this costume style, like say, oh, pantaloons weren't in this period, but pantaloons were in that period. Yeah, so especially if you're dealing with history majors and stuff like that. If you're going for a more fantastical kind of pirate, you can incorporate all different periods. This kind of thing is, I would allow, it would be allowed for specifically like shows like One Piece. This looks historical, but it's not. It's fantastical because it mixes way too many periods all together. Same with Pirates of the Caribbean. I've seen so many 1600, like 1650, 1750, 1700, late 1500, and then I've seen like once 1800, and when they base on different. I don't know if you noticed in the third movie, there's like the pirates from different countries. That's a major factor too, because there is different kinds of pirates out there that use different garbs and dress from different countries. The ones that came from mainly East Asia wore more simple, close-fit garb, but it was more simplified compared to, say, a Spaniard English or a French type of pirate. And also, there's different types of pirates too. There's privateers, which usually are more clean cut, usually, than the typical pirate because they are working for the government, for the whatever government they serve. But all they would do is attack the enemy ship of that government. And then there's the swashbucklers. Swashbucklers are actually not the same as pirates. They are more of a they're more of a code friendly kind of pirates. I know it's weird to say they're code friendly, and they typically don't dress as elaborate attire as other pirates would seem to dress as well. They do a bit of like the pirate kind of dress, but they not as heavily based because they are more they're more professional in fighting too, believe it or not. There's buccaneers. Buccaneers were actually more around like from Eastern Europe, believe it or not. They because they deal in the colder regions, they would wear more fur-based outfits. And I believe they were a bit more dirty than normal pirates too, because basically they came from East Europe, and that's a bit of a ways away. So when they did go out to sea, they would go out for a long period of time. It's just so many different types of pirates from different countries. They wear so many different things. So that's why I would suggest if you want to get into pirate cosplay or costuming, I would suggest going for a more fantastical than just to do some kind of historic kind of costume. And there's really good shows out there that are pirate based. I'm going to bring up One Piece. One Piece is a very good pirate show. It's actually doesn't have as much pirate traditional garb in it, if you've noticed. So, but once in a while there's some little bit of those elements in there. That's a good variation of a pirate. It's actually based more off of modern day pirates, which just wear the normal modern day garb. For materials, if you are looking for certain materials for a certain pirate cosplay, if like I said, if you're going to go for more, it depends on what kind of pirate you want to be. Are you going to be a cartoonish kind? Are you going to be more rough and gruff kind? If you're going to be more rough and gruff, I would suggest broadcloth for a majority of your cosplay, if you're going to be sewing for that. How many of you are actually into sewing? I can tell. So that is really easy to access, and it's pretty stiff material, so you can, collars are really easy to make for that as well, because I know they have some ridiculous collars, pirates do. And then if you want to go for a more elegant attire, believe it or not, there's really thick bridal material for cheap at stuff like Joann's and Hancock's. This is specifically is a bridal dress material, but it was just so thick that you can use it like if it was twill. And they usually come in different colors, but those are more lighter colors. They don't take to dyes as well. If you're going for more historical, you might want to try to get a color that's a little bit more dulled, because even the very extravagant kind of pirate is not gonna have the most perfect outfit unless you're like some specific character from like a show or something. Another thing to look out for is if you want to start making props for your character. They're what I swear by if you want to make a typical lightweight and very easy, like typical curved swashbuckling sword is balsa wood. It's a good beginner prop wood material, and it's really soft wood, and it's easy just to take a penknife and just cut it down and then sand it. I was just putting wood glue over it after you finish sanding it down to however you want. And after you finish with the wood glue, you do the paint of how you want it to. Just give me 1 second. Check for something. And yeah, does anybody have any particular curiosities or questions about a specific type of material?
So if I was wanting to sew Cosplay costume, what could I find a pattern?
There are a lot of patterns out there. Simplicity has a lot of pirate-based patterns. And even I noticed there's Renaissance patterns that are very similar. Like just the base of it is very similar to like a pirate costume. So I suggest Simplicity. I forget which one. It's either McCall's or Butterwick that does period piece costume, and they also have period piece from 1700 and stuff, and you can use that as a base. Sometimes you can just because there's a pattern, you can always alter from the pattern. You can just use that as a base, and then if I want extra fabric for that, you can expand on that. But that's another thing for why I like pirate cosplay better than ninjas, because the patterns are so much easier to find than for ninja costumes. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, that's the question.
Okay. Does anybody else have any questions based on finding materials or anything like that for a specific costume or how to construct a certain kind of pirate costume? No. I'm going to go ahead and move into the air pirates now. This is going to be more based off of the what you see typically. The best reference I can say is Final Fantasy XII, but as you notice, a lot of steampunk base, a lot of it off airship stuff. BioShock is another one where you can see something that's very close to what an air pirate would look like. Those require a lot more corsets. You can get away with different period pieces a lot easier when you go for air pirates. It's very closely related to the steampunk area. I'm sorry, I'm losing my voice this con. And because it's very closely related to the steampunk area, you can easily find different elements and pieces for that. Just even at this convention, people are selling little accessories and things for that. And you can just use it to alter however you want. But that's pretty good. What my friend likes to do for his air pirates is basically he likes to make leather, and he likes to carve leather into his vest and stuff. So he'll have a nice leather vest, crest thing that's like this. What he would do, he would get a old-fashioned projector or borrow one from a school or something, and he would draw the pattern on a clear sheet of plastic with marker, and he'd put on a projector thing. He'd hang up the strip of leather material, and then on the projector it would project what is there, So then he can just carve it and he can draw it that way. So it's easy to transfer this to draw right on the, and then you see you messed up somewhere and it's uneven, so. But air pirates, a lot more leather in their outfits than typical pirates. Typical pirates, believe it or not, they didn't have very much access to clothes. A lot of the clothes they wear almost every day without washing for months at a time. So if you happen to like get like fraying in the outfit, or the dye daub is uneven to your fabric, that is completely okay. That is accurate. Any other questions before going? No? Okay. Any specific, like, does anybody need to know how to craft something, like, in particular that they want to do? Sorry.
Sorry.
They gave me like an hour for this and I only asked for 30 minutes. So good, but that's just why I like this, because it is a very simple, I think it's a very simple and easy cosplay to get into. Is anybody planning on, I see you're a pirate back there, good sir. Is it based off of anything in particular, or is it just?
Not anything in particular. I'm from New Orleans, so I tend to be more of a river rat style pirate.
Oh.
Rather 18th century, late 1700s. Since pirates are very close to our culture.
Oh, good. Yeah, you can tell because, like, can you stand up for a second? I just want to see you. Yeah, because you are, because it is getting closer to like what you'd see more in modern day too. Because like it is like getting close to 1800s when the pirates were kind of, dying down and stuff. So you are pretty darn accurate there. So.
Thank you. I'm also part of a pirate group.
Oh, really?
The Texas Renaissance Festival.
That's cool.
So we all dress up as an organization.
That's cool. And is everybody the same specific period, or is it multiple different periods?
Kind of catch
It's
hand.
pretty hodgepodge. A lot of us do more European style, more British, with the coats.
Oh yeah.
I do a lot of costuming for her as well. So
Cool. So that's pretty good. And even if other people aren't dressed in the same period as you, it's always cool to like have different people. You can sit down if you want. Is anyone planning to do a specific pirate costume in the future? Yes.
Yeah, I want to do like the Spanish palettes.
Oh, like a Spaniard. They were a little bit. They had a lot of random things in their outfits. I'm going to tell you that right now. Because they were a big factor in like basically when it came to battles at sea and piracy. Because you had not just piracy from the Spanish, they also had the conquistadors that were at sea constantly, explorers and everything like that. So if they went out to sea, they wanted to flaunt it. They are their people. So they had a lot of stuff on their outfits. Anyone else is planning anything in particular? Well, I'm sorry this is such a short panel, but that's basically it. I hope you all enjoyed it, and thank you for coming.